Come with us as we show you the municipally owned village of Lake Linden Campground. Lake Linden's upper campground has about 6 large campsites. The sites are shaded but are rustic. They don't include any hookups. Each of these sites have a picnic table and a fire ring. The top loop has porta potties but no bathhouse. You have to use the bathhouse in the lower loop. The lower loop has 27 water and electric sites. It also has excellent Wi-Fi with several access points scattered around this part of the campground. Now we're heading back down the road to the main part of the campground. The bathhouse here on the left is the only one in the campground. There's only one shower on each side plus a handicapped shower accessed at the rear of the building. The bathhouse was clean, and in spite of there only being one shower on each side, we only had to wait for a shower one time. Also, the bathhouse doors are locked at all times and you need the code to get inside. Here we have the campground host. The dump station is located off to the right outside of the campground gates. There are 2 bays for flushing your tanks. There's a large play area with a beach, swings, a small slide and a picnic pavilion on the shore of the lake. Here we are at the main loop in the campground with the bathhouse on the left. Many of the sites are pull-through. The site on the left is number 1. It's the site we had. Each site has a picnic table and a large fire ring. The sites were a little close, but we never felt crowded in. Here you can see Torch Lake with some covered picnic tables along the shoreline. Even though the campground was mostly full during our week here, it was very quiet and the people were friendly. Here you can see one of the Wi-Fi access points in front of the camper on the left. Again, the Wi-Fi was excellent. We had no problem streaming movies or using multiple devices at one time. There's a small dock over on the right where we launched our kayaks. There's a pedestrian nature trail at the rear of the main loop that takes you up on top of a bluff overlooking the lake. There were great views out over the lake, but we really didn't see much nature. Just a few wildflowers here and there and some water birds. There were occasional covered benches along the trail with views of the lake. The trail continues around the end of the peninsula to where you can see the narrow end of Torch Lake as it heads up toward Trap Rock River. The lake was pretty calm the whole week during our stay. Seaplanes taking travelers to and from Isle Royale National Park take off from the lake. We could see them clearly from our campsite, not to mention hear them when they took off and landed. Heading back to the campground, you can see across the lake to the town of Lake Linden. The campsites at the back end of the campground were a little roomier, but they were a lot further from the bathhouse. The campsites ahead on the right are back-in sites. They had a little more room at the rear of the sites because they backed up to the hill. There's a paved path from the campground that takes you along the beachfront and over to the town park. This is the beach at the campground. It stretches the entire length of the campground and has a roped-off swimming area. There aren't any lifeguards at the beach. It's strictly swim at your own risk. They hold a farmer's market here in the town park on Friday evenings. We went to it during our stay here. There were several stands with a variety of vegetables, crafts, and other things for sale. Here's some more play equipment at the town park. There's a nice pavilion with picnic tables. And there's some pits for playing horseshoes. Here's more playground equipment that's a little more vintage. We could hear the squeaky swings all the way over at the campground. Ahead on the left are the tennis courts and a basketball court on the other side of them. There's another more modern set of playground equipment just beyond the covered picnic table in the distance. The basketball court has a great view out over the lake. This sign gives some information about the pollution of Torch Lake from the copper mining that occurred in this area. Torch Lake was declared a Superfund site in 1986. The campground, nature trail and town park are all a result of efforts to clean up the pollution. Here's a nice marina and boat launch at the end of the park farthest from the campground. There's multiple docks for boats and a wide launching area with a separate driveway leading to it from the main street through town. We enjoyed our stay at the village of Lake Linden Campground very much and highly recommend it to anyone who visits the area. We would definitely stay here again if we ever return to the Keweenaw Peninsula. One thing to keep in mind is that there isn't a camp store. However, the main street in town is a quick walk away and has plenty of shops and stores with most of the essentials. Lake Linden is located about midway up the peninsula, making it a good home base for exploring the area.